Prologue. After the death of her mother, the time of great sadness, Famous was alone and searching for answers. The day had finally come to face her fears and deal with the realities of moving on. Magically, her mother had spoken to her from her journal about the journey she had taken to find Famous, a journey Famous would also take. A journey that led her to the forest where the wizard, of sorts, lived. A journey to find herself, the path her mother had taken so many years before to find her. An adventure through the forest to the waterfall, trekking to the sea, a ship across the ocean to the castle of a beautiful princess. This princess was the key to Famous finding Famous. One key and only a part of the truth to where she came from and who she was. This princess was cursed to live all of eternity as a prisoner. Her mother had tried to help, but it was Famous who was to break the spell and lift the curse. Once the curse was lifted, Famous's adventures continue on to Famous's destiny. Chapter 1. Is anyone there? And just like that, the spell was broken and the curse was lifted. The bright light had disappeared and her world had gone dark. Famous was alone in the darkness. Hello? Is anyone there? No one answered. Again she called out, again and again, and yet still no answer. Famous sat in the darkness trying to make sense of what happened. She replayed the whole thing in her mind, laying out the amulets, breaking the curse, removing the curse, and darkness. Well, I can't just sit here in the dark. Her voice echoed, which gave her an eerie feeling. Her voice trembled slightly. Hello? She wasn't sure if she should be terrified that she seemed to be alone or be grateful. Then another thought crossed her mind, which was much worse. What if she wasn't alone? She needed to take some kind of action and find a light or a door. Crawling seemed to be the safest bet. While she crawled along the floor, her fingertips brushed a coin. No, she thought, an amulet. One of 7, she picked it up and shoved it into her pocket as she continued to crawl, occasionally calling out in the darkness. It was pitch black. The complete absence of light, she said. Her words echoed in the room again. Her heart rate jumped, and she felt a slight warmth from her pockets as she crawled along, feeling for the other amulets. Famous! In the darkness, she thought she heard her name. It was spooky and sounded drawn out like they pronounced every syllable. Was she being taunted? Hello? She called out again with a little more panic in her voice. Is anyone there? She found another amulet and tried to visualize what the room looked like before the lights went out. It had been such a long, horrible day. Her stress level was beginning to skyrocket. The more she concentrated on the events that led her to this moment, the warmer the amulet felt in her pocket. Her hand and pocket began to glow. She reached into her pocket, pulled out the first amulet, and examined both amulets at one time. The amulets were slightly glowing in her hand. Famous lifted her hand to see her surroundings, and the light started to dim. As the light faded back to darkness, she started to become more afraid. Okay, Famous, think. Calm down and think. She could hear her voice. It seemed so loud. She continued to crawl along until she ran into a wall, head first, of course. She rubbed her head where it had bumped into the wall. She began feeling the wall as she rose from the floor. She decided it would be best to walk, feeling along the wall, searching for the door. She brushed her hand along the wall to a corner and continued to the next corner and the next, and so on, until she had made it to a 5th corner. Her heart began thumping. Rooms don't normally have 5 corners, so I'm back where I started and no door. No door. The words repeated in her head again. No door. Suddenly, she heard a scratching noise from the other side of the room. She jumped back against the wall. Who's there? No answer. She couldn't help thinking of rats or rabid dogs like in all of those thriller movies she'd watched. Suddenly, she heard a pounding noise, then more scratching. The more noise she heard, the harder her heart pounded.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.